First of all, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are Team C, and please let us begin by introducing ourselves. I am Kota from Japan.
I am Erica from Singapore.
My name is Norika from Okidozen High School in Japan.
And my name is Lapun from Thailand.
And first of all, I would like to thank you all for taking the time to come out today to listen to our presentations. And we would also like to thank the Toshiba International Foundation and Be Good Cafe and any other organizations that were related to this amazing program full of learning. So now we would like to start. So on the second day of this 8-day program, we were actually introduced to these 4 Ps. And what they are is that they are important factors to keep in mind when thinking about making the world a more sustainable place. And through discussions, we decided to concentrate on prosperity. And the reason why is because we thought that making a prosperous community was the first step to solve any kind of social issues. So this is our vision for Asia in 2040. A prosperous Asia that has a strong economic presence in the world, while at the same time also realizes happiness for all people. Now I would like to clarify the word happiness because I think it's a very vague word that can have many meanings. We believe that for people to be happy, we first have to establish a livable community. And what I mean by that is making the community sustainable by being eco-friendly and also stabilizing the infrastructure for safety. And secondly, we also think that by raising the quality of lives of people, this will lead to making people more happier. Speaking of prosperity, I think Omochi-san introduced earlier, but this also links to the Sustainable Development Goals announced by the United Nations. And to give 4 specific examples, number 8, decent work and economical growth, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, and responsible consumption and production. And we think these 4 goals link directly to our vision as well. So now I'd like to hand the mic over to Erica.
I will now be explaining the reasons for our vision. So I would like to show you all this data. So this data shows that ASEAN countries combined have the 3rd largest population as compared to the regions as shown on the slides. Its population is more than 630 million people, which actually overtakes USA. Based on this graph alone, we can say that ASEAN has a huge potential to be one of the biggest economic powerhouses in the world. Yet, when we look at the next data right here, the combined nominal GDP of ASEAN is much lesser than that of China, the EU, and the USA. Hence, we created this vision because we would like to see Asia, including ASEAN and Japan, to grow to be an even more significant economic powerhouse in the world. Next, we will be moving on to our action plans. Action plan number 1, which I will explain, and action plan number 2, which Norika will address, fall under the first category, which is to ensure that resources are efficiently allocated to not just urban areas, but rural areas as well. And action plan number 3, which Dong will address, serves to ensure that low-income workers are fairly treated. So, let's begin. The first action plan we are proposing is a scientific research fund. As a business venture, we would like to provide funding to promising companies that invent new technologies and innovations. With these innovations, workers can accomplish more things in a shorter period of time, which means that productivity increases. In addition, we would like to emphasize that these companies must invent technologies that do not harm the environment and therefore are environmentally friendly. Now I'll pass the time to Norika.
Now, I will be talking about the second action plan. Nowadays, one of the social issues Japan faces is an aging society. Hence, the town lost its vitality. We would like to change a dull-looking town or country into a lively town by holding tours, concerts, and events. By doing so, we can help the town to attract more people to develop tourism. I would like to share my experience. I live in an island called Dozen. Dozen was a dull-looking town that became a lively town. So, I will tell you about how to change the island. One such way is Hitotsunagi no Tabi, made by students. Hitotsunagi means to connect local people and people outside of island. Tabi means trip. So, Hitotsunagi no Tabi is a trip of connecting local people and people from outside of island. We invite students from mainland. Then we enjoyed homestay, eat traditional local food together, and so on. Students who joined the trip got more interested in Dozen, and they actually entered our high school. Then, their parents or family visited as a tourist. So, this means that the number of visitors increased. Through this program, Dozen became a lively town and sustainable community. I hope it will be a role model for other places. Now, I will pass the time to Dawn.
Okay, so for the third action plan, so the problem we are considering is that in many society in developing countries, low-income people need to spend a lot of money to fulfill their fundamental needs because the public service in that society is not sufficient enough to support them. So what we can do is that we can give funds to support or improve this public service. For example, provide free school food, provide medical equipment, and maybe also build transportation in rural areas. And then these low-income people will have more safe money. And in addition, we also provide a workshop in our school program to educate them. So there will be more educated people in society. Through education and through better job that educated people can get a better job. So they empower them to aim for higher economic status. Okay. So it means that they will have more money to spend to buy happiness. So that means the higher quality of life. So also in the society, there will be more educated people, which means that they can help society to increase productivity. So those are all related to our vision is to have strong economic presence and also to realize happiness for all people. And finally, if we can achieve our 3 action plan, we can accomplish all 4 SDGs that will lead us to prosperous society. So thank you all for your attention.
Thank you very much, Lucy, for your